I'm very pleased to welcome back to our studios a very dear friend of SSP TV, our good friend Danny Miner. You may know him as the former police chief of the borough of Freeland. He now resides in Las Vegas, Nevada, but he's back in town to see family and friends, and he always comes by to talk with us. And he talks with us about a very serious issue that he knows a lot about. First of all, Danny, thanks so much for stopping in.
Oh, it's great to be back in Hazleton. I mean, I love Vegas. Vegas is home now, but Hazleton will be always part of my heart.
Absolutely.
Always.
Well, it's kind of you to take time out of your busy schedule to be here. Unfortunately, we're talking about a difficult subject, mass shootings, active shooters. You were in law enforcement for 27 years, which I can't believe because you don't look that old. And then also you've done active shooter and crime prevention training. You now currently work for the Las Vegas Defense Group, a law firm in Vegas.
Right. Yeah, I taught active shooter probably for about 10 years or more. Probably taught over 500 classes, probably trained 15 to 20,000 people on active shooter. And it's basically surviving an active shooter incident. Not for police, ordinary citizens, what to do when you hear them first shots fired. What should you do? And really, honestly, you should be preparing way before that happens. Way before that happens.
Well, we had been talking to you several times about this subject, but when the incident happened at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas in 2017, you were there,
right,
living in the city. So we talked with you via phone about it. So what was that like after you had taught so many people about this, that you were in the area where one of the worst happened?
Lisa, I still get goosebumps when you talk about it. I was actually sitting at home watching TV with my girlfriend, Olivia. We were sitting there, and she looked on her Facebook account. She goes, "There's a shooting on the Strip." And I was thinking, a robbery. I was thinking different things. And she goes, "This sounds serious." So we went on to went onto the internet and got Metro Police's scanner. So we started hearing it. And we're like, this is serious stuff. Then my daughter calls me, and she's crying on the phone, and her boyfriend's parents were at that concert. And they got separated, and they were calling, they couldn't find each other. So she was crying, her boyfriend was crying. Honestly, I was scared for my daughter, because my daughter doesn't live far from there. She actually goes to college at UNLV. So the UNLV campus is not very far from where this incident happened. So it was shocking what happened, and it was something that it's hard to prepare for, because he was up in a building. I mean, what could you really do? Them poor people were sitting ducks, I should say. It was horrible. There was nothing they could do.
Wow, I had chills thinking about you living there and knowing that you talked about this on a regular basis, to actually be there when it was happening. So why are we seeing so many more? We continue to see more school shootings. We've seen in houses of worship. What is going on?
Well, I think, and I've talked about this before, and I'm not afraid to say it, I honestly think our mental health system needs to be fixed. If people need help, we need to get them help. When somebody's sick, we get them help, right? We take them to a doctor, they get medicine. Our mental health system is broken. As I'm going back, now I've been retired 3 years, and I don't think it's changed. If I was at a call where I felt the person was an endanger to himself or others, I was able to take that person in custody and take him on a 302 commitment here in Pennsylvania. And a 302 commitment is they evaluate him, and if they think he's a danger to the public, they may keep him. But 99% of the times, and nothing against the mental health system, their hands are tied. So the health workers' hands are tied, they're released.
Absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. Mental health system is the problem.
Now, for people who are watching this, we hope no one ever needs to take your advice on what to do in a situation like that. But if we found ourselves, God forbid, in a situation where there was an active shooter, what tips can you give us right now that maybe would help save somebody's life?
Like I said earlier, you got to prepare before it happens. I'll tell you what happens after you hear them first gunshot stuff, but you have to prepare. You go to work today. So you're at work today, and I don't know how big your building is, even if it's a small office. You have to get an escape plan. That's the biggest thing. You should start thinking right now, where's the exits in this building? It's too late to think of your escape plan when you hear that first shot. You got to think of everywhere you'll be throughout the day. Maybe there's a lunchroom. Maybe there's, a place that you go every day. It's somebody else's office. Think, what if I'm in this office? What if I'm in the lunchroom? How do I escape? Where are all my escape routes? And that's not even at work. Anywhere you go to the mall tonight, think of all your escape routes. You go to a different building. Now, the other thing is, if you hear the first gunshots, you shouldn't, and we're all human. We're all like, was that gunshots? Was that gunshots? you should already be moving. You should be ready to get out of the building. The first thing, if you can't escape, you escape. The second thing is, if you can't escape, say we're in this back room here, and I'm assuming that's an exit or something over there I could see already, but say we're in this room and there was no exit. We have to find a way to hide. It sounds like a scary movie, but the police are trained to come right in after the active shooter. So if the police arrive, they're not saying, come out with your hands up. The police are coming in this building. So even if you could hide for 10 minutes, the police, especially here in Hazleton, you have a great police department. They're going to be here within 5 minutes. So if you can hide and keep yourself hidden for 5 minutes, that gives the police 5 more minutes to get here. The other thing would be to barricade yourself in somewhere. Virginia Tech, I always go back to that incident. There was a room in Virginia Tech that everybody survived because they barricaded the door. The active shooter plans these attacks, and as sick as this sounds to me and you, he wants to be successful. The more victims, the more successful. So he's not going to try and take time to break into a door. The last thing, and we just saw it in North Carolina, you got to fight back. And as a police officer, especially when I was a younger cop, we were trained never to tell people to put themselves in arm's length. But if you get into that situation, I always say, do you want to die hiding under this table, or do you want to die fighting for your life? You're going to, at some point, someone's got to be the hero and attack the individual. And when you attack, there's no stop, there's no hesitation. You have to go, you got to pick things up, you got to do whatever you can to survive. You got to get home for your family. That's the last resort, but we do teach that.
If we see something, though, with somebody we know, are there signs that you always see there were signs before something happened that maybe people should have paid attention to? Are we kind of afraid to get involved, or what happens if we do see signs and we just don't report it?
I think that's what we got to look for. We got to try to stop these incidents before they happen. And like I said, it's hard to, because our mental health system is broken. We need it fixed. But the thing, how you stop it is, it's a change in behavior. Okay, let's take an employee. For the last 10 years, that employee is coming to work on time. He's dressed very nice. He never takes sick time. He never abuses time off. He's always staying late. And now that same employee, for some reason, is abusing sick time. He's coming in late. He looks disheveled. His clothes are a mess. His hair's not combed. There's a change in behavior for a reason. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be an active shooter. That person could be an alcoholic. There could be drug abuse. There could be family problems at home. Going through a divorce is a hard thing. So there could be something that changed his behavior. But they're the signs you're looking for, especially with somebody, all of a sudden there's a change in behavior. Person talking about guns, person talking about stuff on the news all the time, and saying, I could see why somebody would do something like that. That's stuff that needs to be reported to the police.
Danny, thanks so much for taking the time to come in and talk with us. It's a pleasure to see you again. And hopefully we never have any bad things to talk about, but we just wanted to give people tips to stay safe.
Stay safe. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Love the Hazleton area. Glad to be back.
Glad to have you here.
Right.
Danny Miner.